Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Ethereum, Solana and injective price prediction based on Elliott wave analysis. We're gonna start with Ethereum here on the lower time frame 2 hours chart where we have our impulse toward the upside. For this scenario where we have 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 and a 5 to finish a wave 1 or a wave A. And in this case scenario, you're looking in both cases, of course, for a correction and then moving toward the upside. This is exactly what we got, a W, X, and a Y hitting perfectly the 0.38 and also the perfect timing, of course, for a wave 2 and start the move toward the upside potentially here as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in U wave 1 and to see, of course, a wave 2, 3, 4, and a 5 continuation towards the upside. And in this case scenario, if we dive deeper inside this block area here where we are looking at this wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, as you can see very clearly, wave 4 given and very clear wave 5. That means, of course, a wave 1 has been given here or a wave A. This wave 1 here might unfold, of course, something much more bullish toward the upside. And of course, we still need potentially here for lower prices before moving, of course, for this high. And that because we are looking here at 5 waves toward the downside, impulsive that it might finish after it, of course, a correction 1 2 3 4 and a 5 here for a wave B, meaning you are in a wave A, B, and a C, potentially, of course, toward the downside to finish this wave 2 in the yellow scenario. Preferably, of course, to hit anyway, in this case, that 0.38 fib level and taking the minimum time, which we did not reach it yet. So basically, I would say this is a perfection for a wave 2 scenario here that it might unfold and therefore, of course, start the move toward the upside. So to be watched, of course, is a 2424 where you might finish here wave 1, ABC wave 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't forget that also this can be wave A and this wave C can unfold as well at the 1-to-1 fib level. In case, of course, we take this wave A and this wave 2 will transform, of course, for a wave B here, bigger wave B toward the upside, and that you might see, of course, this wave C hitting around the 2900 as a corrective wave and then continuation toward the downside. Now, higher possibility is going a little bit for the bullish scenario that it might unfold kind of like impulse toward the upside, and that because, of course, on the daily here, we are looking at the possible scenario first as a triangle, which it can be unfolding here after a wave 5 toward the upside to finish, of course, a wave A. You might be in an A, B, and a C, and a D toward the upside. This wave D has started already as an impulse, correction, and you still need an impulse toward the upside. That's why I think that we might see at least an impulse here unfolding for a bigger ABC wave D. Now, in case we break, of course, this triangle trend and we take the high here, that is a 100% confirmation for a bullish scenario that it is unfolding toward the upside as 112. I'm gonna go back a little bit in time to show you what it might be the possibilities here. 1 2 3 4 5 for a wave 1, wave 2, and then having a wave 1 2 3 4 5 for a wave 1 in the blue scenario, meaning this is a W, X, and a Y. Once we invalidate the triangle that we spoke about it at 3973, that means, of course, a bullish scenario is unfolding for Ethereum. Next target might be the 8000, 1.618 as 1 2 3 4 and a 5 to finish a wave 3, then continuation 0 4 5 towards the upside. To reinforce our scenario here for the micro level, where we have, of course, potential one more corrective wave, I'm gonna move for KGT on Ethereum 15-minute chart here, where you can see clearly that you have a very strong bearish signal. Of course, once we took the wave 1 here, we finish it, and you have, of course, previously a bearish signal in convergence with this price action. Both are very strong signals here, where we might see, of course, a move toward the downside, bringing this price of course, for lower for wave 2 and bringing the CVD line for lower, creating a divergence here for a wave 3 toward the upside, meaning our scenario here as an ABC has a very high potential, of course, to unfold a wave 3 after it. That was it for Ethereum. Let's move for Solana to see what's going on Solana for the 2 hours chart and micro level as well. In Solana, we are looking here at 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Impulse, wave 1 or a wave A, followed by a very complex structure. I would say here, not so much, but it looks like a W, X, and a Y somehow. It can be, of course, an ABC as well. However, this as an impulse doesn't really work nicely here, right? So basically, I would say W, X, and a Y since we have finished in 3 waves. And of course, we're following with an impulse toward the upside on the 1 hour chart. Let's move inside this block to see what is going on inside it. So basically inside this block where we are looking at 1, 2 here, ABC expanding flat, wave 3, wave 4, and a 5 toward the upside. No invalidation was taken for this impulse. That is a gap, of course, small gap here that it has not, of course, invalidate this impulse. And by the way, the invalidation should be taken at the level 1 here. Sorry, this was expanding flat, by the way, and even was not taken, so no invalidation. Currently, what we are looking at is a possible wave 1 or a wave A for a zigzag, meaning A, B, and a C toward the upside, or a wave 1, 2 continuation for higher. Now, that is something very important to mention here, that is this triangle formation. A, B, C, D, and an E. If this price action will not break this level or this trend for this triangle, meaning if we don't take here this low, which is the invalidation of a triangle, it is very necessarily to be, of course, taken in case you want to see a bullish scenario toward the upside. Why I'm saying this? Because, of course, a wave 2 is not allowed to be a triangle. In case you are in a wave 1 here, A, B, C, D, E, this is a triangle. Wave 2 is not allowed. And of course, you might be higher potential in a wave B, meaning an ABC is unfolding here as a zigzag. However, this will turn corrective. We might move toward the downside later on, right? We might move toward the downside, which is not really nice to see, of course, in case you are very bullish. In case we are very bullish and we want to see this move toward the upside, you need lower prices. You need to break the 145. A, B, and a C might, of course, move like a diagonal potentially here, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 diagonal ending for a wave 2, or you can be in W, X, and a Y in the blue scenario here, where you are looking potentially for triple structures here. However, the possibilities can be, of course, shifting in both case scenario. But I would say for the W, X, and a Y now, with this price action was today on Monday, I would say preferably I put the W over there. Why? Because I prefer to have, rather than an impulse, because it's not allowed in W to be impulsive, you need 3 waves, of course, W, X, and a Y, and the wave Y therefore might unfold somehow in a 3 wavy structure here toward the downside. Unless, guys, very simply A, B, and a C. So the wave B can be also a running flat, for example, like A, B, C, and then moving toward the downside, or it can be taken from here. However, preferably therefore diagonal, because of this huge wave here, which it looks like a zigzag, by the way, and 1, 2, and having zigzag wave 3, 4, and a 5 to hit around this box here. And 1 to 1 fib level would be in confluence, preferably to be taken 141 for Solana. Yep, so those are the updates for the micro levels for Solana as well. Let's move to the next one, which is Injective here. So on Injective, at the 2 hours chart, also we are looking at this bullish scenario where we have a wave 1 or a wave A, of course, can be 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 finished wave 1. You have an A, B, and a C potentially finished toward the downside, where you see 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 ending diagonal as well, finishing wave 2. In this case scenario, you're looking for higher prices as a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. No invalidation taken, so it's still, of course, an impulse wave 1 or a wave A can be, of course, always. but we didn't yet, of course, finished a nice structure as a wave 2. You can see here a clear impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, wave A, wave B, and potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to hit the 1-to-1 fib level for a wave 2 between 0.618 and 0.786. Now we can see the wave, the fib level 1-to-1 here is a little bit deep, okay? It can be, but don't forget that a zigzag even can finish up around the 0.618, which is of course uncommon target for a zigzag. Here we go. And it is in confluence again with the 0.618 as well for a wave 2. So very interesting to be watching also this level at $10, which is at the same time psychological number, $10, of course, to be watched for injective. Now we might of course see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toward the upside therefore. And of course, this is the highest possibility for the micro level. On the other scenario here that we have, of course, you're still bullish where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a wave 5 to finish a wave 1 rather than finishing here. What you are looking at here as a correction is an ABC finished wave A. You finished here potentially wave B. Yeah, but this is a little bit much more bearish, meaning you're still looking for a deeper wave 2 here, the main wave 2, of course, that we're talking about, and it might reach, of course, around the perfect fib levels for wave 2, the golden box, of course, inside this blue zone here. And in this case, of course, this is a little bit much more corrective and much more deeper price to be watched. But of course, fib levels to be taken into consideration to move to this scenario is of course breaking this level, breaking the 1-to-1 fib level as explained for a zigzag ABC, taking the 886, and therefore, okay, we're moving for lower. Now, in this case, that this happens and we are looking for a 1-to-1 fib level here, that would be a little bit shaky, but yeah, a 1-to-1 fib level again can be very deep, even hitting the 0.786 and even the 886. If that happened, that is not really a nice sign for, of course, bullish, unless, of course, we're transitioning here to something like leading diagonal wave 2 and having wave 3 toward the upside. However, step by step, guys, we are still impulsive from here. Don't forget this. We're gonna estimate the situation. If this transforms to an ABC, therefore, of course, we gonna have a different talk. So yeah, to be watched first, of course, is this zone. I'm gonna mark it also in the blue scenario here, in the blue box. So if we break this one, the scenarios that we might have, of course, here for this big ABC might unfold, of course, for the next price action. But currently, everything, guys, is still corrective. The potential of bullish is still there. It's simply correction that we are looking at. Definitely, this is very corrective anyway, and this is very bullish toward the upside, as we see on many altcoins and not just on injective. That was it for Ethereum, Solana, and injective price prediction. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.